like you're in, dude. Nice. I don't know what you did.
I'm using a third party.
Okay.
Okay, ready? If you want to just look at me, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Excellent.
So we're just waiting, we'll start in 1 sec here. Waiting for our last show.
It came through.
Oh my God, dude, the whole story.
Yeah, we love the water.
Oh, sorry.
This has got something. Unfortunately, I think I picked the beer.
No, they're getting sick.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out of it because maybe they see that I'm doing this. I get messages, got some appointment this morning, so I gotta babysit this week. I hope I get So,
All right, we'll get started in 1 minute.
now we're gonna go chat before the cameras go.
Well, you're just I did. Well, hello, welcome everyone. My name is Greg Namacher and I'm the president of SEIU Local 26, a union of 8,000 property service and other workers in the Twin Cities here in Minnesota. So we are very excited today to come forward with the announcement of a historic step towards rideshare drivers winning a voice at the job. This is a really important immediate step for all the drivers behind us. We've been working on this for many months. Local 26 is a union that is used to organizing in industries and with workers that are traditionally excluded from traditional labor law, and so we are excited to be here standing with these drivers today. You know, we know that unions are more popular than ever. About 70% of the public supports folks being a part of unions, want to be a part of unions, and so it's only right that these drivers behind me have the same ability to form a union, to form the right to have a voice at the job. So a majority of the drivers in Minnesota are immigrants and people of color. They do work that many of us rely on, right? Whether that's folks in the disability community, people getting back and forth from hospitals, folks getting back and forth from the airport, right? This is a set of folks who give a very important service to our entire community. And yet they do not make enough to be able to really help their families and help their communities move forward. So we were proud to be a part of a driver-led coalition in the last 2 legislative sessions, and thanks to many of the folks here, including many of the legislative sponsors, to be able to win some first steps towards addressing some of these problems in the rideshare industry. Those were important first steps. But it's also clear that without a voice at the table, without a permanent voice where drivers can make sure that they are negotiating and figuring out how to make these jobs good jobs that can actually support their families, without that voice, these problems are going to continue to come back to the legislature. And the legislature does not need to be the HR of huge multi-million-dollar global corporations like Uber and Lyft. This is a path to be able to form a union so that these drivers can deal with those issues directly with the companies. So we want to thank the other legislators that are here today to show their support and to acknowledge the extraordinary leaders, both here who stand behind me, the drivers themselves, and also other community allies such as Satul, who are here with us. So first of all, thank you, all of you. Round of applause. So today we're going to hear from some of those drivers impacted from the SEIU Local 26 Driver Organizing Committee, and then hear from some of our legislative authors as well. So with that, the first speaker is Abdi Haivi. He is a rideshare driver and member of SEIU Local 26, already as a security officer. Abdi.
Thank you, Greg. My name is Abdi Haivi. I am security officer and member of the executive board of SEIU Local 26, and I also have been share ride driver since 2014. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm excited to be here today as a share ride driver. As we launch in a process to able to have a union for share ride drivers. I have seen what the union means for my job as a security officer, where we want high pay and better benefits and more respect on the job. But as a share rider driver, I have seen things get worse, like the current member of my union. Rideshare drivers are mostly immigrants from people of color, and we have seen this company refuse to treat this work in respect it deserves. I was proud we won improvement in the capital last year for drivers, but setting minimum benefit isn't enough always. We're still struggling. Over the time, I have seen a pay rate change where the company are keeping more, and I've seen times where I cannot find a share ride, and then I'm picking a passenger who says they have been waiting for so long. We have heard the drivers facing unsafe situation and getting no support from the companies. The whole system isn't working, and we having our drivers helping and make decision more. This decision will only make better. Being able to have a union would mean we could have a voice to stand up for fair pay and benefit, and have say in our workplace. I am a proud union member and have seen how much it has helped thousands of security like me in Minnesota. I am excited for our elected officials to update the law so the share ride drivers have the same opportunity as everyone else to have a union, so we can have a better respect in this job. Thank you.
Great, and next up is DeWitt, also a rideshare driver.
Thank you so much. My name is Dawit Kasa, D-A-W-I-T, last name is Kasa, K-A-S-S-A. My name is Dawit Kasa, and I'm a rideshare driver and proud member of the SEIU Local 26 Driver Organizing Committee. I have driven since 2014 with a break to work at the bank, and have been part of the fight to improve our industry over the last few years. After fighting at the capital for better wages and benefits, I appointed to the governor's task force that ultimately recommended changes that were passed last year. I'm proud of being that work, but both my own personal experience and what I've heard as we have talked to hundreds of drivers over the last year is that no law is going to address all the issues we are facing from these young companies. We need a union. I repeat it again, we need a union. We need a seat at the table so we can make sure this industry works for us. If it doesn't work for dedicated drivers like us, it will end up meaning worse service for passengers who rely on us to get to their destination safely. Our pay is still a burning issue, both how much we are getting paid and the transparency. Sometimes we hear a rider pays generous X amount of money, and we are only get unfair X amount of money. It is also an ongoing issue that drivers are falsely accused and deactivated because of riders who didn't like them, enforcing safety rules, or sometimes for no reason at all. I am one of the victims of this, and I'm still deactivated and are not allowed to work for Uber since 2022. This is our job, and people don't understand that we can have it taken away at any time and not even have a clear understanding why. We know we have a big fight ahead of us, but we have shown over the last few years that rideshare drivers are not scared to stand up for what we believe. Now we will be working with our political champions to make sure state law is updated so drivers like me have the same chance to form a union, like everyone else, to make sure drivers have what we need to care for our families and ensure our riders have the best experience possible. We know a union is the only way to make this possible, and we are ready to make that a reality. Let me end my sayings by saying collective voices can make a loud, hearable sound. One more time again, a collective voices can make a loud, hearable sounds. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Now to Brad Lito from the AFL-CIO.
Thank you. As Greg said, my name is Brad Leto, and I'm Secretary-Treasurer of the Minnesota AFL-CIO. The state's federation, more than 1,000 local unions represent more than 300,000 working people from every corner of the state, every walk of life, and nearly every job. And all of these folks from SEIU we worked with them for years, and now they are actually affiliated with the National AFL-CIO, which means there's even more power. As billionaires take more and more power in this country, working people everywhere are coming to the same conclusion that these rideshare drivers have. It's better in a union. We saw in the last few years rideshare drivers organized to win improvements to pay and benefits, which have been mentioned, but we know the best solution to winning fair jobs is having a union so workers can negotiate with these companies and sign a contract. We are proud to be here today, and I am proud to be here today in support of working with legislators pushing to fix this issue to make it clear that rideshare drivers have the same right that most workers have to choose whether to form a union. Rideshare drivers do critical work every day, getting Minnesotans safely to and from their destination, medical appointments, and everything else. And they deserve better than what they are currently facing. Minnesota's labor movement is proud to stand with these workers because we believe that every worker should have the right to a union. And we're excited that this bill, if passed, would give them that right. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you. And now I want to turn it over to our bill authors to just talk a little bit about the bill. Woo!
Good morning, and I am Representative Samakap Hussain, District 65A, first name S-A-M-A-K-V, last name H-U-S-S-E-I-N. I'm honored to be here with the community and the union, and I'm excited to be part of the history today. Unions are the backbone of America, and the fairness, protecting workers' rights, and ensuring that every voice is heard in the fight, whether it's dignity, economic justice, and opportunity for all. Minnesotan rideshare drivers keep our community moving, but they still do not have a real voice in the industry that they support and they are passionate about. Last year, we made progress toward fair wage, but big rideshare companies continue to do the bare minimum while making billions. It is time for change. This bill will give drivers the right to reform union and negotiate fair pay and protection, like just any other workers. We are following a model that worked in Massachusetts, and we try to implement it, the same model right here in Minnesota, which is people voted for. If drivers to choose unionized, they can negotiate one contract with all rideshare companies voted on drivers across the state. This bill will create a real accountability and stop companies from exploiting drivers or misleading the public. Let's be clear, this will not hurt any communities that depend on rideshare drivers. The real problem is corporate greed, not drivers asking for fair treatment. This bill is about fairness, dignity, and economic justice. And that's what the drivers has been asking for the last 2 years and beyond that. And this will address that issue that we are coming together today. This bill is being drafted now and will be introduced this session. Lawmakers must listen to drivers, hear their concern, and work with those people that are vulnerable for better future. Let's get this done and move forward.
Good morning, everybody. I am Senator Sayyid Mohammed. I represent Senate District 63, and to spell that, Z-A-Y-N-A-B, Mohammed, M-O-H-A-M-E-D. Last year's legislation was an important step forward. Last year's legislation was an important step toward fair wages and better treatment for Uber and Lyft drivers, but the fight isn't over. Multi-billion-dollar rideshare companies continue to do the bare minimum while making massive profits off of the backs of hard-working drivers. Drivers provide an essential service to Minnesotans and deserve a say in their working conditions. Giving rideshare drivers the right to form a union is then the next step forward, and they are calling for us to help solve that issue. Rideshare companies set the pay rates, policies without driver input, leaving workers vulnerable to low wages, an unfair deactivation, and poor working conditions. Many drivers feel that over recent years, the companies have taken a bigger and bigger percentage of what customers pay, leaving drivers with less. Fair wages and rights at work shouldn't be optional. Drivers deserve a voice at work. Drivers still face barriers in enforcing basic protections from an employer that controls their work through an app. We know that these companies use misinformation and scare tactics to divide our communities and pit drivers against riders, and we won't let that happen. Giving drivers power over their working conditions does not come at the expense of the communities that rely on the service. The real issue is and has always been corporate greed. Right now, labor law claims that these drivers don't have the right to form a union, like most workers, denying them the best path forward to fix the industry. The best way to hold these companies accountable is to give drivers a seat at the table. This bill creates a process for drivers to form a union and negotiate fair pay, benefits, and protections. At a time when unions are more popular than ever as a counterbalance to corporate union, it is only fair that these drivers would have the same chance as other workers to form a union. We are following the same model. We are following the model passed by Massachusetts voters this fall, all while working to make a Minnesota-specific language to ensure that this bill meets the unique needs of our state. This bill sets up a process for drivers to petition to form a union, regardless of whether they are considered employees or independent contractors. Drivers are already putting in the work every day, and it is time they have a voice and power in the industry that they sustain. This bill will update the law to ensure that rideshare drivers have the same rights as other workers to collectively bargain for fair wages and better working conditions. And under this law, if drivers sign a petition and to form a union, they would negotiate with all TNC companies on a common contract that would then go to drivers statewide. It will ensure that drivers, not just executives, have a say in the policies that impact their livelihoods. It will establish accountability, like my House author said, for companies that continue to put profits over people. It will protect both drivers and communities that they serve. Corporations are the only ones. Corporations are the only ones who have always been exploiting vulnerable communities, not the workers trying to earn a living wage. And so the bottom line is that this bill is about fairness, like Salma Cobb said, it is about dignity, and it is about economic justice for Minnesota rideshare drivers. A union gives drivers the power they need to fight for the wages and the right that they deserve. This bill is currently being drafted now, and you won't see a language just yet, and we expect it to be introduced hopefully this session. And we're hoping to get committee hearings. We hope that legislators will listen to the stories of what drivers have been saying over the last few years as they have been coming to the legislature. And with that, thank you.
Senator Mohammed, you said hopefully you'll